My sincere greetings to you all listening to this audio text, going through this e-content. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for being active audience of this text. I'm here talking some approaches of social inclusions or approaches that extend or enhance social inclusion. I introduce social inclusion, the characteristics, components, process of social inclusion, and discuss some approaches. It is a very short topic and I focus on these three things. Introduction of social inclusion, introduction of the approaches, characteristics of social inclusion, process, strategies, like this. Okay. What is social inclusion? It is a comprehensive term. It has been a buzz term in the sense that it gives different meaning. Inclusion, participation, inclusion, access, inclusion, respect, inclusion, right, inclusion, being common to all. Social inclusion has been a buzz term, and we come to see different campaigns and movements for social inclusions. So you might have an experience of being involved in different campaigns and movements for the social inclusion. Sometimes you may say that equality is the strength. हामी धेरै देख्छौँ प्लेकार्डहरू नाराहरू लगाएको, समावेश गर, दुर्व्यवहार गर्न पाइँदैन, छुट्याउन पाइँदैन, अधिकारहरू सुनिश्चित गर. See the things. के ensuring the rights, ensuring the representation. This inclusion is related to right and representation. We come to see different campaigns and movements for social inclusions. It has been a political agenda these days. Social inclusion has been a political agenda as well as the demand of public from the grassroots, okay? Not grassroom, from the grassroots. It has been a political agenda as well as the demand of public from the grassroots. So social inclusions is a recent discourse everywhere. When social members are more educated, when societies are more educated, more awakened, then they work for inclusion. They raise the demand of inclusion. They spread the message of inclusion. The aim is to create an environment. Aim is to create an environment where everyone feels safe and welcomes to be themselves. Aim of social inclusion is to create an environment, create atmosphere where each individual feels safe and is welcome to be themselves. The goal is, okay, the goal. Aim is very specific than the goal. Goal means a vision or we say mission. The goal of social inclusion is to create a society that values diversity, create a society that gives respect to diversity, gives equal space to diversity, that promotes equality and fosters a sense of belongingness, extend the sense of belongingness for all its members, regardless of their background, all the members, regardless of their background, identity, and circumstances. Right? Social inclusion is a process through which we can ensure equality. It is a process through which we can ensure equality, we can ensure rights and the justice. Social inclusion has a deep meaning. Okay? It has deep implication. It has deep meaning in social relations, in social unity, social cohesion and equal participation. Inclusion for equal participation, inclusion for common goodwill, inclusion for cohesion in a society. We can describe social inclusion is a process. So it is a process. Social inclusion is the process of ensuring that everyone in a society has the opportunity. What kind of opportunity then? Everyone in a society has the opportunity to fully participate. Where? To fully participate in all aspects of life. What? Economic, educational, cultural, social, intellectual. So inclusion is described as a process of ensuring that everyone in a society has the opportunity to fully participate in all aspects of life regardless of their background. Whatever the background would be, whatever the background could be, inclusion gives the opportunity, or the meaning of inclusion is equitable with the equal and fair opportunity, balanced opportunity. Social inclusion is an attempt for creating a society where everyone feels valued. It is an attempt. It is a determination. And it can be the goal. No. For creating a society where everyone feels valued, respected, and has the equal opportunity to succeed. Equal opportunity to succeed ahead. Achieving social inclusion is an ongoing process. Though it is difficult to achieve social inclusion, however, we attempt and partially we are able. You see the inclusion these days in the society, even our constitution has guaranteed the social inclusion. Our government has devised different policies and often introduced different programs of inclusion. Even in university, we see different programs for the inclusion. Anyway, achieving a social inclusion is an ongoing process that requires the commitment of all members of society. All members of society, including governments, business, social society, civil society organizations, and the individuals. Got it? By working together, we can create a more just and equitable world, more inclusive, more responsible, more equitable world where each individual, each member has the opportunity to reach their full potential, to reach their full strength, and to work with others. Now, some aspects of social inclusion. After I discuss aspect, then I will focus on the approaches of social inclusion. Let's see the some aspects. What are the aspects of social inclusion? Some of the key aspects of social inclusions are equality of opportunity, न्यायिक समन्वयिक अधिकार अथवा अवसरहरूको वितरण, equality of opportunity in equal basis, accessible opportunities, doable opportunities. Similarly, reduction of inequalities, participation of the people and empowerment of them, participation and empowerment, respect for diversity, respecting the diversity, socio-cultural diversity, linguistic diversity, no discrimination at all, no harm, community building, accessibility, social cohesion. So social cohesion, accessibility, community building, no discrimination at all, equal respect to everyone else regardless of caste, ethnicity, gender, respect for diversity, participation, empowerment. All these are the aspects of social inclusions. Now, social inclusion in practice. How social inclusion has been put into the practice. I discuss you some examples. Here are some examples of what inclusion looks like in practice. You can have a good experience of social inclusions. you might observe some practices from your society that represent social inclusions. Yeah, I discuss you. We see the involvement of state and organization. Involvement of state as well as organizations working collectively, working to ensure social inclusions. Some examples of social inclusions here. For example, accessible education for children and disabilities, special need education in our context, isn't it? Education for the youth, education for the women, education for disadvantaged, education for laborers, education for child laborers, education for migrated workers. So accessible education for children with disabilities, policies that promote equal pay for men and women. These days we see the equal payment, equal work, equal payment, equal right. Policies that promote equal pay for men and women. Social security for low income families. Culturally inclusive community events. Supports to the victims. Okay? Supports to the victims. Support services for refugees, for immigrants, for the badly affected by different, unexpected, unprecedented activities. So yeah, we see the involvement of state organization working to ensure social inclusion, accessible education, policies that promote equal pay, social security, culturally inclusive community, support to the victims, support services for refugees. These are some examples of the practices of social inclusion. Now, approaches of social inclusion. Here are a few approaches. Here, approach does not mean here is a model. Okay? Approach does not mean here is a theory, but here we discuss some ways, some alternatives, or some mechanisms through which we can promote social inclusion, or we can ensure, warrant social inclusion. Some significant efforts have been made for the purpose of social inclusions are here. Some approaches means here. Okay, approaches means some significant efforts that have been made for the purpose of social inclusion. They also mean the measures or strategies taken or adopted. Measures or strategies taken or adopted to ensure inclusion. Though social inclusion requires policies and constant procedures. After 5 minutes, though social inclusion it requires policies and constant procedures, some approaches have been ensured or proposed to achieving it. Yeah, you see some policies, some procedures, some approaches. What are they? Some of the approaches are strategies made in the global practice, local practice. For example, you can take an account of the approaches made in your society for social inclusion, made by your local government for social inclusions, made by national government for social inclusion, made by several agencies, NGOs, INGOs, other institutions for social inclusion. So some of the approaches made in the global practice of social inclusion are as follows. So one is policy reform and legislative measure. It means ensuring the inclusiveness in the policy, national policy, local policy, international policy, working policy. Policy means something that is put into the practice. So policy reform and legislative measures. It's an approach. Anti-discrimination initiatives, taking anti-discrimination initiatives. Accessibility provisions made for the accessibility. Community engagement is an approach of social engagement. Community engagement is an approach to promote active citizenship skills, civic responsibility. Similarly, citizen empowerment, support networks, different support networks like clubs is a support network, community is a support network, publications of different journals, brochures, pamphlets, support network, organizing conferences, symposiums, seminars, workshops, support networks. Similarly, community development, employment and economic inclusions, employment opportunities, employment opportunities for poor and marginalized group of the society, opportunities regardless of ethnicity, gender, caste, religion, economy, culture, etc. So employment and economic inclusion, another approach, healthcare and social services. We see social security policy of the nation as a part of inclusiveness. For example, that social security allowance to the Dalits, to the underprivileged, to the single woman, single male, female, employment and economic inclusion, healthcare and social services, technology and accessibility, all these are the examples of approaches here. Similarly, providing training and advocacy for skill development, for awareness, for developing confidence. Similarly, social entrepreneurship, collaboration, cooperation and coordination, collaboration with the institutions, cooperation of the group, coordination between the different units and agencies, having intercultural dialogue for cultural promotion, for minimizing culturally offensive behavior, for maximizing the good culture. Similarly, media representation, education and awareness. Okay, education and awareness, media representation, intercultural dialogue, collaboration, cooperation, entrepreneurship, training and advocacy. These are also the approaches. I mean, these are the ways through which we promote, we extend, we social inclusion. Some others, like economic redistribution, social justice movement, corporate social responsibilities, all these are the approaches, and these approaches work best in combination. They rarely work in unitary or isolation, but they work best in combination of one to another, and they need commitment and confirmation. However, the most effective strategy for social inclusion depends on the specific context and the challenges faced by a particular community. As far as practicable, we try to follow these approaches. We try to follow these approaches for social engagement, community engagement, and for service learning. These are the most relevant approaches for learning. And just this much in this video, you see the references included here for the detailed information, right?